Hey learners, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to cover the Vedic Maths Part 2, where we are going to study about addition, subtraction, multiplication and Vinculum calculations. So let's get started. Firstly, when we are talking about addition, there are two basic calculations. It is related with Sutra ending with 0 and Sutra Nikhlam. Let's understand how to calculate addition techniques using Sutra ending with 0. So let's see this question, wherein we have been given that we need to add 73 plus 62 plus 54 and plus 87 using this method. So the first step is you need to classify the numbers towards the left and right. So we would be adding the numbers from the left hand side first. So in the first step, we would be adding 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 8, which would give us then 26. Moving on to the right side, before we are considering the numbers, we need to add the 0 in the next step. And then we would be adding all the numbers which are there on the right side. So the numbers that are there on the right side are 3, 2, 4 and 7. We would add all these numbers along with 260 and we would be getting our answer. Similarly, when we are talking about another example, so here we need to add 347, 649 and 265 using this sutra ending with 0. Again, we would be classifying all the numbers from left to right. Remember, here the left side is 3, 6 and 2 and the right side is 4, 4 and 6, 7, 9 and 5. So in the very first step, we would be adding all the numbers on the left hand side. So we are having 3 plus 6 plus 2, which gives us the 11. Second step, we would be adding the 0 to the obtained value. So now our number becomes 110. Moving on to the next side, so here in the right side we are having the numbers 4, 4 and 6. So this would be added with 110 to get the answer 124. And at the very last step side again, so we would be adding 0 towards this obtained value. So the 124 would become 1240 and all the digits from the right hand side 7, 9 and 5 would be added and our final answer would be 1261. So if you have understood this method, so calculate for yourself these values and let me know the answers in the comments below. Now let's solve the questions of additions using Sutra Nikhlam. So here when we are talking about this sutra, we need to consider the base value to the next number that has been given to us. So considering the example of 73 plus 96, here we are having a base value of 100 which is from 96. So we would be classifying in the first step the base value calculation, that is 73 plus 100 minus 4, and then we would be adding all the positive 73 plus 100 and keeping the negative aside, we would be adding 173 minus 4 which gives us the value 169. Nextly, with the number 538 plus 97, again 97 with the base value 100, we would be subtracting this and showing this in the step 1, 538 plus 100 minus 3. Then we would be adding all the positive values 538 plus 100 minus 3 separately. Then we would be adding all the numbers together and subtracting the value to get our answer. So if you have understood this method, calculate and let me know the answers in the comments below. Let's move on to the subtraction method. So in the subtraction method, there is only one sutra, calculation of sutra ending with 0. So calculating the subtraction, here you need to understand that the word from would be given and the lesser value would be given first with the greater value. So this question says subtract 38 from 87. That means we need to subtract 87 minus 38. Again, we would be classifying the letters from left to right. Then we would be solving the question from the left hand side. The calculation is you are subtracting the numbers 8 minus 3. Then you are adding the first value from the right hand side, that is 7. And then you are subtracting the last value, which is 8, which gives you the answer for the subtraction. Let's see the calculation of subtraction of 643 from 825. In the step 1, again we would be classifying the values of left and right. We would subtract 8 minus 6, we would get the answer 2. Adding 0 towards it, so we would be adding plus 2 minus 4 which gives us the value 18. Adding 0 to this particular step, adding 5 minus 3 gives us the final value 182. If you have understood this, so calculate for yourself these subtraction values and let me know in the comment section below. Let's understand the calculations related with multiplication. So here the calculations are classified into various types. The first calculation is with the sutra vertically and crosswise, which includes the three different methods. The first method is the same base method. In that we are having where both the numbers are less than base and more than the same base. We are having different base method where both the numbers are less than base and more than base. Third calculation is where one number is above and other number is below the base. In this we have the calculations related with the bases when they are same and when they are not same. The next calculation is the sutra Vinculum calculation, and the next calculation is sutra where one more than previous one calculation takes place. And the last calculation in multiplication is listing of numbers of all lines. So here we'll see the question where both the numbers are less than the same base. Let's understand this with the question. Here we need to multiply 7 with 8. So considering the base value first, so 7 is 3 below 10 and 8 is 2 below 10. So firstly we'll draw a chart like this, wherein on the left side we would be writing the number and right side we would be writing the deficiency, and then we would be cross marking both the values together. Next step is you need to cross subtract from each other. So you would be cross subtracting 7 minus 2, which would be 5, and 8 minus 3, which would be 5. Always remember the difference would be same. Next step is we need to multiply vertically all the deficiencies that we have got. So we will multiply minus 3 into minus 2, which would give us the value 6. So the difference that we have calculated would go on the left side and the deficiencies multiplication would go on the right side. So step 2 would reflect on the left side and step 3 would reflect on the right side, which gives us the answer 7 into 8, which is 56. Now let's understand the calculation where both the numbers are more than the same base. We are having a question where we need to multiply the values 12 into 14. Again, we would be finding the base. Here, considering the base of 10, we know both the values are more than 10. So here we are having the surplus value. So we would be writing on the left side number and on the right side surplus. So we would be cross adding both the values together. So we would be adding 12 plus 4, which would give us 16, and 14 plus 2, which would give us 16. This would go on the left hand side. Step 3, we would be multiplying all the surpluses vertically, which is 4 into 2, which would give us 8, which forms the second part of the answer. So the final answer is 12 into 14 equals to 168. Now let's refer to the second calculation of multiplication, which is different base method. Considering a question where we need to multiply 98 into 9, we would be writing the number on the left side and the deficiencies on the right side. Both the values are having the deficiency from their bases and we would be mentioning them on the right hand side. Second step is to cross subtract the values which are being given to us. So we would be cross subtracting 9 with 1. We would be getting the answer 8. We would leave the right hand side column and we would be mentioning the number as it is. Then we would be multiplying vertically. So vertically we are having minus 2 as the deficiency and minus 1 as the deficiency. So we would be getting the answer 2, which forms the second part of the answer. So the values obtained in the step 2 and the value obtained in the step 3, we would combine them together and we would be getting the answer 882. Now let's refer to the multiplication calculation where we need to calculate when both the numbers are more than the base. Solving a question of multiplication with 105 into 12, we would be writing the surplus values from the base and we would be mentioning them on the right hand side. Next is we would be cross adding both the values together and then we would be getting the answer 125. So after cross adding the values, we would be multiplying the values of the surplus. So 5 into 2, we would be getting the value 10. Now keeping both the values together, that is from the cross addition and from the vertically multiplications, we are having 125 and 10 as the value. So we would be carrying forward the 1 value towards the 5 to make the answer 1260. This would form the final answer for the multiplication question. Now we would be moving on to the third part of the multiplication. Calculate one number is above and other below the base. Here the first section is when the bases are same. Multiply 102 with 97. So again we would be writing the surplus and the deficiency. Here we have one surplus and one deficiency. So the step 2 is we would be cross adding and cross subtracting with 3 and we would be adding 97 with the value of 2. Here we have plus 2 as the surplus and minus 3 as the deficiency. To taking this towards the step 2, we need to now cross add or subtract. So from 102 we would be subtracting minus 3 and from 97 we would be adding the surplus value. So 102 minus 3 is 99 and 97 plus 2 is 90. Step 3 is now we need to vertically multiply the surplus with the deficiency. We are having plus 2 and minus 3 which would give us the value 6, which forms the second part of the answer. Now since the obtained value is in negative, our answer on the right hand side would be 9906 bar. So 9906 bar is 9900 minus 06, which is ultimately 9894, which forms the final part of the answer. Now let's understand the Vinculum calculation, general number to Vinculum form. Here we need to subtract from the base value the bar numbers. So if you need to calculate the Vinculum for 9, 8 or 17, which would mean calculating the Vinculum, you need to keep in mind you need to subtract it from the base value. To get the answer 9, you need to have the calculation 10 minus 1. This would be written like 11 with 1 bar on the top. When you need to calculate for 8, it would be the calculation of 10 minus 2, which can be written as 12 with 2 bar on the top. Similarly, for 17, it can be written as 20 minus 3, but in Vinculum form, it would be 23 with 3 bar on. The second type that we need to calculate in Vinculum is you need to form to a general number. So 11 with 1 bar on the top is 10 minus 1, which would give you the answer 9. If you have understood this, then you can calculate the general number to Vinculum form calculations and Vinculum form to general number calculations. Also, let me know the answers in the comments below. Now let's move on to the third part of the multiplication, which involves the Sutra 1 more than the previous one. This is useful for multiplying the same type of digits. So considering the question with multiplication 63 into 67, here we are having the same type of a digit calculation. So firstly, we would be multiplying 7 into 3, which would give us 21. Secondly, we would be multiplying the common digits with the last number. So 6 into 7 is 42. Here we would be placing 21 on the right side, 42 on the left side, which would give the answer 4221. Now let's move on to the calculation of numbers of all lines. So here if we need to multiply with this method, so let's consider a question. So 765 into 999. To multiply such a kind of a question, the step 1 is you need to subtract 1 from the very first number involved in the calculation. Here we have 765. So minus 1 from this would be 764. Step 2, you subtract first number with the second number's base. So this number is usually multiplied with 999, which is forming 1000 minus 1's value. So second number base is 1000 minus 765, which would give you the remaining value as 235. Now you need to keep the step 1 value on the left side and step 2 value on the right side, which would give you the final answer. Let's consider the second question. Here we are having 5 times 9 on the right and left side we are having 1863. So 1863 minus 1 is 1862. Then 5 times 9 means 5 times 10, which is forming the second number base value 1863, which would give us the value 98137. So combining the values from step 1 and step 2, so step 1 value is 1862, which would be placed on the left, and 98137, which would be placed on the right. Now let's understand the division method. So in division we need to remember only 2 steps. The first step is whatever is the first digit, you need to write the first digits as the quotient, and secondly you need to do the sum total of all the digits to get the remainder. So here the first digit of the number 25, 2 is the quotient, and the sum of digits 2 plus 5, which gives you 7, is the remainder. Or some of the calculations may feel complicated, but for the point of view exam, you need to remember only the basic concepts that are being mentioned. Feel like the method is getting complicated, you should skip that and move to the next part, which you can read in. I hope these tips are helpful for you to prepare for the exam. If you have liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more updates. Thank you.